And we are back. We had a week. We had a lot of things happen. Some stuff is still happening. That's why we're a little late.
We had a good week.
We had a good week. In fact, we both won.
Hey, I was at this wedding.
I was there too. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Palmer, you might remember this bottle of champagne. I bought it whenever I was 15-1 and rolling through the playoffs. I lost the first game to Josh Barshowski, and I lost a championship game to Tim Palmer. I had plastic, I had champagne. I was going to celebrate one of the greatest fantasy football seasons of all time. But now, we won a meaningless Week 4 game.
Hey, we both won.
We did both win. It's not Irish crickets, is that French crickets? Maybe. All right, well, let's jump into it. Week 4 recap. We started off with a good week. I'm all screwed up here so far. The first game was me versus the Rough Cats. I won 134 to 103. I beat them by 31 points. Teddy Two Gloves left hurt after 7.8 points. Dalvin Cook came in injured, got 9 carries, 2 targets. He's currently the 27th running back, and not sure if he's playing again this week. Montgomery had 24.6 points, and he left with a knee injury. That's going to sideline him for a month. They said like 6 to 8 weeks. Excuse me. But I think week 8 they play the Steelers, and week 9 they are on a bye. So I'm assuming they're going to be out of it by then. They'll keep him on the bye week. It'll be like a 10-week injury. So Moore, Deontay Johnson, and Debo are the ones why I'm popping bottles tonight. 86 points out of the 3 of them. That was a sweet, sweet situation. It's funny because everything I heard, Debo outscored Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but that was the worst trade of history. If you
I think it was a fair trade. We talked about it was fair. Filled a need from you, filled a need from for him.
It did,
but not everyone sees it that way.
No, I guess you gotta be with Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a year to find out what he really is about, because it gets tough. On the other side, Lamar Jackson had 316 air yards and 28 rushing yards. I don't necessarily think that's what you're drafting him for. It's 19 points. It's okay, but Lamar Jackson, you're looking for 30, I would assume. Calvin Ridley had 11 points. He's the 28th wide receiver. I just found out he is not going to London, so he's going to stay at the 28th receiver. He's probably going to fall back a few more spots. And on top of that, Logan Thomas left injured with 0 points, so Bry Guy got some injuries to deal with this week. He's a little bit banged up. We both picked me. We both won. Anything stick out this game to you?
We talked about it. The Debo trade, your receivers carried you. Montgomery injury is going to hurt, but I think if you can rate that and maybe look at the quarterback position, you'll be fine. The Rough Cats, I think, are on a downward spiral.
I'm sure your power rankings will reflect that.
They will. I've said it for a while now. I like the top of their lineup, Jackson, Chubb, and whether it's Jacobs or Edmonds. But after that, Ridley's having a bad year, and then they don't have anybody else. You look at Pittman, Logan Thomas, the flex position, really nobody there. And one of his strong suits, which was his D, is not playing up to their standard.
Falling apart at the seams, I would think. It was Kevin Gainwell with a lot of points, but you're not going to start him every week.
Well, Gainwell looks to be the number one there, though, in Philly over Miles Sanders.
Until you get comfortable starting him, then Sanders will have his blowout game, but it's fantasy. Next game was the General versus Kareem Abdul. Do we know why he has his name twice there?
I was going to ask you, no.
I don't. Tags with his 4th one in a row over Kareem of Wheat, 124 to 118. It's 6-point difference. It was a nail biter, but he pulls it out. Tags keeps the crown. Aaron Rodgers and Henry. Henry had 25. I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers and Derrick Henry had 25 and 26 respectfully. Justin Jefferson got 17, 89 and a touchdown. He had a decent game. Mike Williams was a disappointment, though, 1.6. But it was enough. He didn't need much more. He got 5 points more than he needed. The other way, Joey had Dak with 33 and Corey Davis with 23. 15 out of Hunt, and the Tampa Bay defense. 15 out of Hunt and 15 out of the Tampa Bay defense. Okay, 15.6 out of Hunt, yeah. Usually type this. It was in a hurry today, so I can't really read it. CD Lamb with his second disappointing week in a row. Is there any concern with CD? He got 2.3 points this week. He got single digits last week too. He got 8 points last week, 13 the week before, and 21 before that.
I don't necessarily have performance issues with him. I just never thought he was the number one.
No, he's not.
I always thought it was Amari Cooper there. You have Zeke. You have Pollard. Even Michael Gallup when he's back. There's too many other weapons to have him, for me, as the number one receiver on your team.
Yep.
If he's your number two, number three, I'm fine with it. But if he's your number one, I don't like him in that position. So, and I think that's one of the weaknesses of the Kareem of week. Corey Davis played well, but we saw he did that in the first week, then he disappeared the next two. I think you're going to have that with the Jets. And then DeAndre Swift, I think you're going to get the same thing out of him too, where he'll have one good week, one bad week. That's what happens with good players on bad teams.
Yeah, 16 rushing yards out of DeAndre Swift. Speaking of disappointments, Kelsey had 4 receptions for 23 yards. That got him 4 points.
It also put him on the trading block.
You don't play well for Kareem of wheat, you get on the block. Tags was primed for a defeat, but he didn't get it this week. I took Joey, you took Tags. So, in the big game, maybe, he got 45 from Tyreek Hill, 20 from Jonathan Taylor, 14 from Mike Gesicki, for a total of 132 points. I'm out of order again. This is a catastrophe, this one. This Friday is really screwing me up.
You've been drinking a lot of this champagne before I got here?
Not enough. I was trying to look back to see if you would have beat Tagmeyer, which you would have. Was 12 points better than the Thunder Gun Express. Ladies and gentlemen, joining the win column, Ben's Baloney Boppers. 1-3, first one of the year. This wasn't a gimme. Murray had 24, Barkley had 29, the Buffalo defense had 29 also. Got him 120. 12-point win. We both took you. That has to be a relief to get that monkey off your back, get that first big win. And you scored a lot of points. I think you and I scored 2 and 3 in the league in high points.
Yeah, it was about time. Jonathan Taylor finally played to a first-round draft pick. Tyreek Hill, this is what you'll have out of him every few games. And then Mike Gesicki had a solid game too, like you said. Evans was right where I expect him. Wilson played his final good game for at least about 9 weeks now.
We're going to get to that. That's a big hit.
And then I think Fournette, I think this is the type of game that he'll continue to have moving forward. Between 10 to 15 points, I kind of expect that out of him on Tampa Bay's offense.
You're going to need it. I think this is a throwing week, but we'll get to it. Next one, still agenda smashed the Brady Bunch 138 to 53 points.
This might be the most pathetic score I've ever seen in a fantasy.
It's an 85-point win.
He outscored Tyreek Hill by 8 points. His entire team.
That's even with McCaffrey, I don't know that you.
He has nobody who scored double digits.
Yeah.
He has nobody who scored 9 points.
Well, still got the high score of the week at 138, so I think we've been having 160s. 138's not insurmountable, but it's a win for him, and it's high of the week. Josh Allen had 21. The aforementioned, Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 20. Year high for him. Just so everyone's 20's his year high. Probably his career high. Cook had 16 on Monday night, and McLaurin 29. The Brady Bunch, the namesake of his team, did not come through. 8.6 points from Tom. But he was average top scorer. No one had more than 8.2. And that 8.2, that 8.1 was Chuba Hubbard. Miles Sanders was 6. Allen was 7. Thielen was 6. Freiermuth had 1. Damian Harris had 3. The defense had 6. His kicker had 6. His kicker outscored half his team. We both took Pat, so it was expected. I don't think we expected 53. If we keep league low points, Let's hope
What
that.
happened?
I don't know. I've never